Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Jo Vest with PopSpeed Digital Marketing, and it's time for Hot Take Tuesday. Today, we are going to be talking about the difference between brand marketing and leadership or brand leadership marketing. Kylie, I'm going to let you kick us off because this was your deck. Tell us what we're going to
Yeah.
talk about.
So, yeah, like what Lori said, we're going to talk about brands versus brand leaders and interacting with consumers on social media. I actually have been seeing a lot of content on, my TikTok and my Instagram, um, about how brand marketing is essentially trending towards leadership being a more trusted source,
Mhm.
which I thought was really interesting. So I decided to dig a little bit deeper and figured we could talk about it here. So, our three big things are just kind of a call to leaders to not ignore your personal platforms. I know Lori can speak to this really well, and I've
Mhm.
seen a bunch of really great examples from a lot of brands that I follow recently. So, we have some good examples there. Consumers value human connection and authenticity. This is, we'll talk about it until we're blue in the face, but this trend is
We
just
will.
continuing to skyrocket, and we don't think it's going anywhere, obviously, because it's in our human nature, of course. And the third big thing is that it does not need to be complicated. So,
No,
pretty
never.
straightforward. Yeah,
Never.
let's get into it.
Yeah. So we have got, I should have introduced everybody. We've got Kylie, Molly, and Sarah here who are also on the Pop Speed Digital Marketing team. We are focused heavy on social media, but we also provide email marketing, SEO content, blogs, articles that Google loves, and website builds and updates, maintenance kind of things. So we are well versed in social media, and that's why we do cover that topic frequently in our Hot Take Tuesdays. And what we've learned, and we hear it repeatedly, one of the things that we do as an agency is we regularly attend workshops about what's going on in social. Social is constantly changing and evolving. And one of the things, I just got an email yesterday about the founder of Gymshark, which is, an apparel company, and how his social media is just taking off as the founder because he can talk about how the values behind the company, why they do what they do, who they are, and the performance of his social over the brand's social is like 5 times. It's five
Yeah.
times better because you'll hear us say this repeatedly. Social media means social. People like to engage with and hear from people on social media, not brands. So even if you put forth a brand face, you should be acting as the people behind the brand.
Yeah.
You guys have heard me say this all the time. So anybody have anything they want to add to that?
I was just going to say, I think on like very different scales, it's very relevant too. Like two of my favorite LinkedIn accounts, other than yours, obviously, Lori, are because I mean, we do Hot Take Tuesday on your
Yeah,
platform. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're very active on your LinkedIn. Somebody that I know, Lori at least knows, I don't know if anybody else has met her on our team, but Angela Bucciolato is somebody that
Mhm.
I've been
Oh
connected
yeah.
with back when I lived in Michigan, and she runs a company called the Resume Rescue, and her personal LinkedIn is so dynamic, so
It is.
powerful. She regularly shares really incredible stories about interactions that her company, herself, and her company have had with clients and things like that. And I think that it just goes to show how much personal branding matters and how much it really can propel a brand forward because people love people. People like we love to interact with other people. We don't like, interacting with somebody that's faceless on social media, which essentially you can trust a brand, you can enjoy a brand, and you can find it credible. But if you're not interacting with somebody who's, icon on their profile is a face,
Yes.
a recognizable, authentic face, it becomes a little bit less human. So I think that that's what
Yeah.
makes it so important.
We're a communal
Yeah.
species. I mean, we
Yeah.
really are. So,
Yeah. I see this even in like the B2B space, not even just with consumers. Like one of our clients is in the automotive industry, and I do both her personal social and her company social, and her personal goes crazy
yeah.
in ways that the brand just doesn't. And it is
Right.
so interesting that it is just yet another case of like people want to connect with people.
Yep.
Mhm. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that kind
So
of takes us into our next point too, really well, is just that as humans, it's in our nature to value authenticity and like real true connection. And
yes.
it can be a really powerful win-win too. When you put the time and effort into your personal branding as a business leader, it not only makes you more credible as a leader, makes like develops your trust with people far beyond who your brand may even be reaching, but it is another opportunity to continue to propel your brand forward. So it's
Absolutely.
essentially in a lot of ways you're, building your personal brand, building what you stand for, building your messaging, but you're also using your platform to promote what you've put so much time and energy into as a brand leader. For me, I think a really good example of this, there's this beauty brand that I follow. It's called Lux Unfiltered, and it's like skincare and, mostly stuff like that. Um, and the founder of the company, they've been recently like dropping new products, as beauty brands consistently are doing. But she's been on her personal platform kind of in an influencer style, teasing these new products for several months, like, oh, look at how my skin is glowing, look at how pretty I look today, things like that. And now by the time the product is dropping relatively soon here, people know about it. People want to
Yeah.
look like this beautiful human that's developing her personal brand on social. And I think it's like just a really strong and strategic way to really put what your brand is doing in front of more eyes than you would otherwise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know personally, the other thing I'll say is there a reason to have a brand page? If you're a smaller business and you have a company and you also have your personal account, should you have a brand page? Absolutely. It may
Yeah.
not get as much play as your personal as a leader of the company. However, what can happen is you can put content on your brand page that you can promote. You can put a spend behind it, which you can't do with most personal accounts. And you can also share that company content on your personal page, which
Mm-hmm.
puts it in front of a larger audience. Your personal audience may be larger and also maybe preferred in the algorithm over a brand page. So there's
Mm-hmm.
reasons to have both. But the leaders page is something that you never want to ignore. And whenever we look at we talk to a potential new client, we always consider whether the founder or leader of that team should also have a very active personal social account. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the way we do it. All right. What's next?
I think that takes us really perfectly into this slide also, because here we're going to talk about how it doesn't need to be complicated. Like Lori said, for us, it's something that we always consider when we take on new clients. We have clients now where we run the brand leaders LinkedIn. We've had them in the past. So it's something that we tend to always consider when we enter a new engagement. And it's not something that needs to be overly complicated. If you're a brand leader and hearing this kind of freaks you out, like, oh my gosh, I'm already so busy, I already don't have the time, there's no reason to panic. It's just another level of something that needs to be incorporated into your social media strategy. So most brands will either have an internal social media team, or they'll find somebody like us and they'll outsource it. And it's something that can very seamlessly, once we understand your brand messaging, it becomes easy is not the word, but it becomes a much more seamless transition for us to understand your voice and your messaging as well. You may want to be more involved in those conversations and what we say on your personal accounts, but it's still on us or on your in-house social media team to find that messaging for you. Whether or not you want to be super involved in approvals, make edits, that's ultimately up to you, but it's not something that you need to spend hours every single week putting attention towards. It's
Mhm.
something that realistically, it's a part of your brand. It's an extension of your brand. So your brand social team can take that on and continue to kind of push it forward strategically.
Absolutely. Anything to add, Sarah? I hate to always leave you out. I feel like I'm terrible. I don't ask
No,
enough
no,
questions of our
I'm
team
a
during
good
these hot
listener.
takes.
No, this is I was just thinking that this is how it really connects well with our previous Hot Take Tuesdays, about how we're not magicians, things take time, you have to have patience. And then this is exactly why, right? Because you're also trying to show yourself, where's your passion, where's your dream, why are you doing this, why are you a good fit? And it all comes down to, it's nice to know that people still want to know who's behind the things that we buy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really healthy mindset for the consumers to have, like ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For example, like not even just the social media, for example, our local farmers, they actually have their photos and information of who's growing the vegetables, who's growing what. So that
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
in, we know exactly what's going on, which I do love. I want to support more if I know the face,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
like, I don't really know if this comes from any other, mega sites with who knows what's making, there's no story behind it,
Yeah.
and as a story enthusiast, and I think that's why I do work in this industry, I just love that, I want to hear the client's stories, like what made you think that you wanted to do this, that sort of a thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a really
origin
good point.
stories perform really well.
yeah.
Origin
Mhm.
stories, I will say my personal experience on LinkedIn is that when I share a photo of my face with a big
Mhm.
smile, it always performs exponentially better than a graphic or a photo of something else. There's something about people wanting to connect with other human beings who have something interesting to say. And trust
Yeah.
me, you have something interesting to say. You may need
Right.
somebody to pull it out of you, but
Yeah.
you do have something interesting to say, and you should be saying it in support of your organization as well as in support of your personal journey, your
Yeah.
personal career journey, or whatever it is you're trying to do. So get out there, be personal, be in your channels, show up. And as the leader, share the company things, share the company posts. And it can take what, 10 to 15 minutes a day, at most 10
Yeah.
to 15 minutes for you to go in, create something. What are you thinking about? What books are you reading? What did you say to your team in the meeting yesterday that might be helpful and useful to someone else? There's a ton of ideas. And I'll make an offer here today that as we wrap up, that if you want to do a quick ideation session with the PopSpeed team, just a 10-minute, 15-minute, take a look at your social and ideate a bunch of different themes that you could pursue in your personal social on behalf of your brand, we are happy to do that. We are all open networkers on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me there. We also have a contact form at popspeeddigital.com. And we have a contact form there that you can ask any questions or get in touch with us. And we hope to see you next week at 10 o'clock on Tuesday for another hot take. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.